evening, everyone. Welcome to the pregame show on the Reading Fightin Phillies Radio Network. Tonight, Game 3 of 6 between the Fightin Phillies and the Hartford Yard Goats, alongside my broadcast partner, Jake Starr. My name is Bob McCool. We're talking to Edwin Soto. He is the Assistant Director of Player Development. Obviously, a very big role with what's going on in the minor league systems with the Reading Fightin Phillies and throughout the Phillies organization. Edwin, I want to kind of go off script a little bit in terms of this. Part of the development that I don't think people are thinking about is that great big building out here. I mean, that is a piece of the puzzle that has very much to do with player development, and I know you guys had a piece of all of the design of that building.
That's a good one, yeah. Such a blessing to come with the facilities. I mean, we obviously talk to our players about how we pride ourselves to have like the best facilities, the best resources for them to continue that development. You know, we expect a lot of them on the field, and I think they expect a lot of us off the field. So we pride ourselves in having really good facilities, and obviously with the support of ownership and, you know, Reading the Fightin Phillies ownership as well. We were able to have an amazing facility, as you know, and I was here last summer, and kind of while the building was getting up there, and just now seeing it live, kind of fully finished was, I mean, what an honor. I mean, just seeing yesterday, sitting behind home plate, just looking at it, you know, the history of this ballpark in baseball town and how historic it is, and you match that with a state-of-the-art facility like that. It's like, what a dream to be here and playing for them and just working for this team. So.
And for you personally, talk to us a little bit and tell our listeners about your path through player development. What made you want to get involved in the minor league side of the game, and how'd you kind of end up where you are now?
Of course, yeah. So, yeah, Edwin Soto, originally from the Dominican Republic. Obviously grew up like every guy from the Dominican Republic trying to be a major leaguer. Unfortunately, that didn't happen out of the DR, and I was offered a scholarship to come play high school and then college baseball in the U.S. Still grinding, trying to become a professional baseball player out of a draft or something like that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And then, you know, what's next? You know, I'm trying to get in baseball somehow to impact the industry that I'm most passionate about. And I was very, very thankful to get a role with the Phillies back in 2018 as the administrator of minor league operations, working with Lee McDaniel and Ray Robles, assisting both of them in the domestic and international operations, in the true behind the scenes of the industry with a lot of the travel logistics and housing and rental cars and accounting and HR and contracts and a lot of different hats. But those first 3 years of my pro career on this side were like so instrumental to get to know a lot of different people in different departments. Thankfully, in 2021, when President Matting was hired by the Phillies as a farm director, he kind of took me under his wing and got me to the baseball side, quote unquote, in the baseball minor league front office. Initially as a manager of player development, and recently promoted along him, same day that he was promoted to assistant GM, I was promoted to assistant farm director, and yeah, what a blessing to be on like working for him and impacting these players. And the Phillies do such a great job, just like we talk about the building back here, but also like a lot of things off the field, providing opportunities for not only staff but players as well.
I don't think it can be understated, though, that your cultural background plays a vital role within the organization, because you're greeting some of these guys literally right on the doorstep. And for them to have somebody who has come through a similar culture that they have come through, it's a little bit more of a comfort feeling for them as they adjust to life in the States.
100%. I completely agree, and that's why I'm so privileged to be where I am right now. You know, being from the Dominican Republic, from a third world country that doesn't speak English, you know, coming here, it's it's something that I'm very proud of, you know, being in the role that I am and impacting the players. And, you know, one of my biggest responsibilities kind of overseeing our baseball operations in the Dominican Academy, which is overseen by Manny Amador over there, who's also here in Reading somewhere at the moment. But, you know, he oversees that, and I'm his right-hand man, kind of supporting him with everything that is needed. But we have a really, really good process of developing the players over there, and kind of, the president always says it best, you know, we provide him with the best resources so that their talent can take him where it's going to take him, you know. So if that's the big leagues for 20 years, great. If that's AA, great. If that's low A, that's great too, you know. But we're very conscious of the fact that we have really good processes, and we always say the best staff resources, human resources, financial resources for the players, and yeah, very, very honored for that.
And we talk about resources. One of the people that are resources are the coaching staffs, and the field directors and the instructors, and one of those coaches, the manager of this team, it's Al Padrique. He's in his second season with the Fightin Phillies. What's it about Al that makes him such a great fit for Reading, and what made the decision for him to come back here to Reading probably such an easy one?
Of course, yeah. I mean, what a legend, right? Like, I mean, if you look at his career and what he's done throughout the years, scouting side and baseball side, being in the big league before, so. Yeah, I mean, Al is such a legend. I mean, obviously, we talk about the cultural background and the bilingual and part of that, and him being able to connect with players in a way that it's just hard to describe. It's the way that he goes behind the scenes and gets the trust of the players, and they trust him, and he knows that he always have the best interest for the players. So, yeah, we're very lucky to have Al in our team, and he's been impacting our players ever since he got here.
And so we talk about player development, and there were two shining stars through the player development process that weren't in Reading long enough, quite frankly, because we needed them around here a little bit longer. Johan Rojas and Ryan Kirkering wound up not only being a part of the Phillies season last year, but being a part of the playoffs as well. They obviously are two guys who you are very proud of what they were able to accomplish.
Yes, sir.
But it's also how they've accomplished it, the work they put in to develop as quickly as they did.
100%, yeah. Both of those guys are like workhorses. I mean, Rojas, obviously we know that elite defender, but he also has a lot of pride in kind of the non-elite part of his game with hitting. Obviously, that the speed is elite as well. So yeah, really, really hard worker. I mean, I was very blessed to kind of be able to be part of his whole development from when he was a young kid, kind of getting to the U.S. and getting to the FCL level. And yeah, very, very proud of him and what he's doing right now and representing not only the Phillies, but like his whole family name, his whole Dominican country. So very proud of him. And Orion, yeah, what a story, huh? What a story, out of the draft, and then 1 year kind of moved along every level, and then you see his slider and the fastball combination is pretty impressive, obviously very elite, and he's getting guys out in very crucial situations in the big leagues. So yeah, two very, very good stories, and I think what excites us more is kind of like the guys that we have behind them too. Like obviously we're developing a lot of really good players right now in the minors, and the goal is that we continue to provide Dave Dombrowski and his people over there, Dave and Sam, and the rest of the Phillies ownership, a lot of really good talent, just like Orion and Johan. So.
And when you look at this team, it's a group that's littered with some prospects, a lot of veterans as well, and also some diamonds in the rough. And I think one of those diamonds in the rough has been Carson Taylor, who was just named the Phillies Minor League Hitter of the Month for April. When you guys were going through the Minor League Rule 5 process last year, what stood out about Taylor and what's impressed you so far?
Yeah, that's a great name. Obviously, like very, very proud of his accomplishments early on in the year. I mean, once he got to spring training, you could see that he's here to work hard, and obviously he had a position adjustment. Back with the Dodgers, he was a catcher and trying to become a first baseman. Obviously now it's first baseman only. He's one of the, personally myself, when we saw his name kind of available in the Rule 5 draft, we were a little bit impressed just because of his draft status when I believe it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken, as well as the bat that he has, which is special. So it was one of those guys that we wanted to have on our team, and he was one of kind of looked like a Philly, come on in. So yeah, he's been great. Again, spring training was really good for him. He's here representing himself and the staff really well. We're hoping that it can be an Oliver Dunn story all over again. So obviously you guys had Oliver here, and he was part of a really big trade that got us Robert Moore and Henry Mendez from the Brewers, and Oliver himself, we're obviously proud of him. He's in the big leagues representing, and yeah, I mean it's a very good story, and obviously a lot of credit to our PD staff that has kind of assisted in the process when we welcome him in spring training.
It's a question I've talked with Al Padrique with a lot, and it's this kind of fine line that exists in minor league baseball, player development and wins and losses. And it doesn't always work together. It can work together,
right,
but it doesn't necessarily work together, because part of it is to get them here and get them out of here.
Yes.
But at the same time, if they're here, you can win. It's a fine line to walk, but it's all part of the kind of the big general process.
100%. Yeah, that's a hard question to talk right here, just because obviously in PD you just want to develop the player, develop the future big leaguer to be impactful in the big leagues for many years, right? So sometimes you may have to sacrifice a win that day for whatever reason it is, and obviously that you never know. You can tell, do we bunt here, do we not, do we bring this guy, the prospect might not be hitting as well, we have a guy who may not be a prospect, quote unquote, I mean they're all prospects obviously, but do we bring him in for, or you let the prospect get the tough at bat, and at the worst case scenario is a learning experience. So It's a lot of that, but yeah, that's a good topic. That's one that we can have 4 episodes right
We'll
here
have a
on that
couple of
topic.
adult beverages and discuss
There
and
you go.
figure it all out right that quickly.
There you go.
So last one for me, everyone always kind of wonders what's next. Who's coming up next here in Reading? And there's a lot of talent, I think, at High A, Single A, the Complex, and also down in the Dominican Summer League. And I think a couple of names that people are looking at right now is Justin Crawford and Aiden Miller. And of course, there's a lot of pitching talent as well. George Klassen, Gene Cabrera, Sam Ottagary. Same thing. We can go on for a long time about
Thankfully, we can go on for
about all of the pitching and hitting prospects in Single A and below. But we'll talk Crawford and Miller specifically because those are the two that I think everybody's really kind of clamoring to right now. Both are hot also, coming off multi-hit games this week.
Yes.
What about those guys just makes them so special?
Yeah, I love the fact that they're really hot right now. It's kind of easier to do this right now. But yeah, I was myself in Jersey a few days ago, and Crawford had a 4-for-4 night with the most impressive things: the 2 infield hits right under 4 seconds each. Like, I think it was like 391 and 385 or 386. So very impressive. You see the ground ball to third, and you're just off your edge. You're in the edge of your seat, just looking at him run. It's very, very special. So obviously Crawford is you've seen him perform what he did now for multiple years now. So he's a guy that obviously will be here in Reading, impacting obviously soon, and the combination of the defense, the speed, the bat is there. And Aiden Miller, same thing. He had a career night last night, went 4-for-4 and in Tampa. So yeah, the combination with him is the elite hitting, but also the work that he's put in the infield is pretty impressive. I know our infield coordinator Adam Everett has worked very, very hard on him, and obviously Luke Moore in our hitting department as well. But the fact that he's able to play a really good shortstop, is something that has impressed us in a really good way. So yeah, those are two guys to follow for sure.
Edwin Soto has been our guest. He's got work to do. We got to get out of here and get to first pitch. We come back on the Reading Fightin Phillies Radio Network. We'll have lineups and first pitch. Fightin Phillies, Hartford Yard Goats coming up right after.